Have you ever wondered how an equestrian girl spends her morning? Well, wonder no more, because welcome to my equestrian morning routine. I typically start my day around 7 a.m. with some quiet, peaceful time here in the English countryside, sipping on what is usually a strong coffee. Waking up early is such a great way to start the day for me, and with horses, you really have no choice because they need their breakfast too. So I like to get ready quickly, get my trainers on, my jacket on if it's a bit chilly. I normally take a cup of tea or coffee to the yard with me, ready to start my morning chores. The countryside is just so calm this time of day. It's one of my favourite moments. I arrive at the yard just after 7 a.m. and first up I need to check on Reggie. He's been waiting patiently in his stable for me to arrive. I think the horses must wake up at sunrise, as no matter how early I get here, they are awake and ready for breakfast. Mucking out is always the first task. I like my horses' stables clean and comfy, so we'll always muck out in the morning and again in the evening. Reggie is a bit of a character. He loves his breakfast and a good clean stable to start the day and is very particular about his routine. I start by removing the used bedding and manure, making sure everything is fresh for him with a final brush up. It's a really simple routine, but I think a quick stable clean really makes a difference for their health and happiness. Now, I don't know what kind of order you do your stable in, but for me, it's mucking out, then doing the water. I refresh their water every day, and then the final stage is haynets. Haynets seem to be everybody's least favourite job, but honestly, I don't mind. And while I'm doing haynets, I will get some hay for Bugsy to put on in his steamer. So Bugsy suffers with asthma, which means he can't have hay when it has not been steamed, and when it's steamed, it takes all of the dust out of it so that it doesn't tickle his throat on the way down and cause him a little bit of breathing difficulty. I don't know if you knew this, but sunglasses are actually a really useful tool to have on the yard, and mine personally get used a lot, especially for the steamer. Once the hay is in the steamer, I put it on for an hour to get it started and ready for when Bugsy comes in later on from the field, and I get started on breakfast. Both of the boys have the same base meal. Reggie has more because he is a bigger horse and a thoroughbred, so he needs more food, and Bugsy gets a little bit less, but they do get different supplements for different things. I'd love to do a video going into more detail on their feed, so let me know if this is something you'd be interested in, and maybe even getting a nutritionist out to explain why different horses need different things. You may be wondering why Reggie is having his breakfast before I've mucked Bugsy out and why Bugsy is eating outside, and it's because Reggie is such a slow eater that if I want them to go out and finish their breakfast at the same time, I give Reggie his breakfast at the same time as Bugsy's, go and muck out Bugsy's stable, and by the time I've done everything in Bugsy's stable, Reggie is normally pretty close to finishing and Bugsy is normally long finished. Both of my horses are on shavings for bedding, and this is mainly because of Bugsy's asthma. Reggie is also on shavings because he is a very messy horse, and I find it much easier to keep his bed clean with shavings. Normally, my mucking out routine looks like taking the droppings out every single day, twice a day, and then taking the wet out once a week and adding a bale of shavings. This keeps the bed nice and deep for them, nice and comfy, and more manageable for me. One of my favourite jobs on the yard is definitely sweeping. I think it really ties the whole look together after a muck out, and I just love a tidy space to tack up with. So it is summer here in the UK, which means the horses have to wear their fly rugs and fly masks. Reggie responds quite badly to fly bites, and I just like to keep them as comfy as possible. So Bugsy also gets his fly rug. However, Bugsy's doesn't have a neck because he just doesn't like the feeling of a neck, and if he ever has a rug, specifically a fly rug with a neck, he will rip it off. The final thing I have to do before I can put the horses out is check their water and make sure everything is okay with it and it is accessible for them. This is especially important in summer when you have really hot days and the horses may want a drink more often. We have an automatic water feeder, so we don't have to worry about filling it up. And just like that, all I need to do is put the horses out, with the exception of getting some sun cream on Bugsy. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about your morning routines or any questions you have about rural horse life. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.